Ships of the world, start your engines. Let the oil flow. And no, that is not Donald Trump mistaking maritime trade for NASCAR. That is what he posted on Truth Social about winning the Iran war. Congratulations to all. Donald Trump, you started a war to reopen a shipping lane that was already open and fine until the day you decided to bomb a country into closing it. Now, can we finally get back to getting the Trump Epstein files trending? Look, I gotta say this. We flat out lost a war we didn't need. And there is no way to spin this into a victory. We straight up left Iran arguably better off than when we started, and we are certainly a weaker nation domestically and globally after this ridiculous showing. Donald Trump bombed Iran for 4 straight months. He killed their supreme leader. He got on television and promised to wipe an entire civilization off the face of the earth, never to return. And this week, he wrapped up the whole thing by signing a deal where Iran essentially keeps control of the Strait of Hormuz, might walk away with hundreds of billions of dollars, and we pretty much agree to leave them the hell alone. It is crazy. And yet Donald Trump calls it victory. And again, the overarching reason this administration leaned on this war, the entire reason for all the bombs, once they realized they couldn't say to distract from the Epstein files, was that Iran could never be allowed to build a nuclear weapon. Even though most experts agreed Iran wasn't even close. But the reason Iran could never be allowed to build a nuclear weapon, that was non-negotiable. So in the deal that Donald Trump just signed or is in the process of signing, the nuclear question essentially gets pushed to a 60-day negotiation window that starts later. You ever see a baseball team claim the W because they went into a rain delay? No, neither have I. And what is Iran getting out of all of this? Frozen funds unlocked, sanctions relief on the table, and a reconstruction package to rebuild everything that Donald Trump just blew up. And the number floating around being $300 billion. That's bigger than their entire annual budget of the Iranian government. We spent months and billions of taxpayer dollars bombing Iran into rubble. And now we're volunteering to essentially buy the rubble back at double the price. And look, I've been saying this the whole time, that the best case scenario here is that we end up with the exact same deal that Obama had. That deal that Trump has had dozens of meltdowns over in the last decade or more. Now, this administration would like you to know that this is completely different than that terrible Obama deal. So they trotted out J.D. Vance to explain the difference. And this is where you can watch this man's brain run out of RAM live on CBS. Because he is asked directly, is Iran getting billions of dollars? And his answer will leave you speechless. Watch this.
I think what the president of the United States wants to do is turn over a leaf of 47 years of a failed relationship between the United States and Iran, but that requires the Iranians to actually honor their end of the bargain. So when people say that billions of dollars of assets will be released, that's not true. What is true is that Iran will have a much better and much more prosperous future if they meet the obligations they make in this agreement. We'll, of course, see. That's one of the things we're going to work out in the technical talks that will follow the official signing on Friday.
Great. Crystal clear. Absolutely clear. But not long after that, in the very same interview, he's asked about that $300 billion reconstruction fund. And he has a little bit of a different answer to that one.
You are the architect of this deal, so let's walk through some of this. The Iranians are saying that they're going to have access to a $300 billion reconstruction fund. True or false?
Well, and that's the sort of thing they could have access to, funded by the Gulf Coast Coalition, so long as they honor their end of the obligation.
So there's no money, But also there's that $300 billion to rebuild that they're going to get if they behave. J.D. Vance sounds like a guy swearing he's going to quit smoking while he's puffing on one just to calm down. So then they said, you know what? This guy's better on camera. Let's send out Pete Hegseth. He went on Face the Nation to prove that this deal is tougher than Obama's. And he says, and I quote, "The document says Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, won't seek one, won't buy one, and won't have one." But listen to what the host, Margaret Brennan, tries to point out by talking over him. Listen to this.
That they live up to what they said they would do. The document says Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, won't seek one, won't buy one, won't have one.
JCPOA said that
too. In 60 days,
too.
There'll be negotiations to make that final. But they didn't have the threat of military force the way that we do, that Iran respects in a very way that their regime is more devastated than it's ever been in its 47 years.
He just keeps rambling. He doesn't even care that this was already in the Obama deal. And so Donald Trump tore up a deal, started a war, killed a whole hell of a lot of people, including American soldiers, drained our oil reserves to the lowest level since 1983, back when Ronald Reagan was filling them up for the first time. And he walked back out of a meeting with the exact same paragraph, now stapled to a $300 billion check. And let's not let this man off the hook, Bibi, Benjamin Netanyahu. He's the one who lit this whole match. He announced this campaign back in February with all bravado. And think about it, every single one of his war goals came up empty. No real regime change, no change in the nuclear program, really. And so while Donald Trump was on Truth Social posting, "Let the oil flow," Israel is still out there carrying out its biggest airstrikes on Lebanon since the war began, blowing up the ceasefire that Donald Trump is trying to take a victory lap on. And yes, real people are dying in those strikes. And right now you've got the most powerful man on earth, the supposed strongman, with his entire response to this ally who's torpedoing his peace deal, was telling the New York Times that Netanyahu is, quote, "a very difficult guy." And in another account, he says that he has no effing judgment. F-bombs versus real bombs. Great, Donald Trump. That's the art of the deal right there. Master negotiator. Why don't you just bow to Netanyahu? I mean, Bibi played Trump like a fiddle. He got his war, got his bombs, and now the United States is left paying the bill. And while Donald Trump tries to dangle this Iran deal in your face like a set of car keys in front of a toddler, I just want to remind you what he wants you to not see. If you remember the Epstein files, while everybody was watching the Strait of Hormuz, Epstein's longtime assistant testified to the House Oversight Committee that Epstein kept a Palm Beach sheriff's deputy in his pocket, bribing him with cash and Disney tickets. That is how cheap it is to buy a slice of the justice system if you are a rich enough monster. Disney tickets. So no, I haven't forgotten about the files, and neither should you. And that's why I'm going to ask you guys to hit that notification bell so that we can get the worst crimes of this administration back to the top of the algorithm where it belongs.